Good evening and welcome to Camnet TV main news today, the 14th of September 2021. To present the news, my name is Jeffrey Ziambo. Top stories in the news tonight. A governance expert urges government not to use emotions over the presidential jet. Government claims the health sector is in a crisis as 15 women die every week. Mines Minister describes Zambia's mining sector as a mess. And in international news, Burkina Faso has, from January to date, rescued 374 children from traffickers. And in sports news, COVID-19 still negatively impacting various sporting disciplines.
The Camnet October Conference is fast approaching. To participate in the forthcoming conference, you're required to book your seat by paying 750 kwacha per person per day. Date 1st and 2nd October 2021. Venue The Healing Word Ministries International in Ibex Hill. Guest speakers include Professor Reda, Professor Munkumba, Mr. Nkuruma Kalaluka, Dr. Musonda, Dr. Sitima, Anthony from USA, Dr. Mwale, Honorable Bob Sichinga, Elias Bondela, and your hosts, Pastors Victoria and Moses Chiluba.
You can also participate via Zoom at 300 kwacha per day.
Make your payments through mobile money for MTN 096 296 5883, for Airtel 097 975 3010. Our banking details are 913 000 182 5325, Stanbic Bank, Kablonga branch.
For those living abroad, make payments via Wild Remit. The deadline for payments will be 28 September 2021. Any late payment made after 28 September will attract a penalty fee of 200 kwacha per person.
Hello once again, another news in detail. Harry Mwangan Kombola, Ward 12 Councillor in Lusaka's Chiwolia compound of Kanyama constituency, Aaron Mwanza, says the rise in community youth-led gangs, commonly known as junkies, is as a result of poor family upbringing. Speaking to Camnet TV, Mr. Mwanza, who is a psychiatrist by profession, explains that many of them come from child-headed households or could have suffered family negligence, hence resulting to drug and substance abuse. He, however, says as a councillor working in that area, along with other civic leaders, they are rolling out a program on raising awareness on dangers of drug and alcohol abuse. We have more in this report.
Chiwolia compound in Lusaka has earned itself a name as Sin City from the locals due to various criminal activities that take place here, from reports of open trade of illegal substances, sexual harassment, killings and daylight robbery. Various security concerns have been raised about this compound. United Party for National Development UPND Harry Mwangan Kumbula Ward 12 Councillor Mr. Aaron Mwanza says it is high time that mental health issues were taken seriously in the country by placing counseling centers at every corner, attributing the criminal activities in the area to poor family upbringing. Mr. Mwanza, who is also a psychiatrist by profession, states that members of criminal gangs locally known as junkies usually come from child-headed households and other types of broken homes who resort to drug and alcohol abuse, resulting in criminal activities.
The problem in Zambia and in our community spaces, we are not taking psychiatric as part of health. There is a stigma in terms of psychiatry. All these are problems of psychiatric mental health. So if we trade in mental health, all issues of gender-based violence, the issues of drug abuse and conduct disorders, we may keep them. So we need to, the Ministry of Health and the government should come up with the deliberate what policy that we should invest and trade much in mental health, so that at least in each and every area we have got a point where someone can seek help in terms of counseling, and also let's be a trade in terms of awareness campaigns.
He further explains that he, along with other civic leaders in Chiwolia, will carry out community sensitization programs on the dangers of drug and alcohol abuse, calling on concerned stakeholders to come on board.
Starting from here in Chiwolia and all parts of the country, because this drug abuse, Chiwolia is a trading area. These drugs are coming out all over the corners of Zambia. and they're trading in Cholia.
He concludes by saying that the problem of junkies can be solved with concerted efforts, not only in Chiwolia compound, but in all parts of the country where this problem is found. Zipporah Mshala, Camnet News, Lusaka.
3 Copperbelt-based artisan boiler makers are left stranded in Lusaka by their employer, who is alleged to have ceased all manner of communication after shunning to pay them their wages. The 3 spoke to Camnet TV Tuesday afternoon, alleging that an agreement between the 2 parties was reached of a month-long work of constructing a plant in Lusaka's industrial area. They have since called on well-wishers and powers that be to come to their rescue. Meanwhile, efforts to get in touch with employer Venice Mokopa, director of VenV Engineering Company, proved futile by broadcast time. Details in this report.
4 months ago, these 3 men, artisan boiler makers by trade, traveled from Copperbelt to Lusaka for a job which required them to construct a brewery plant for VenV Engineering, a company contracted by Chat Breweries to construct a brewery in Lusaka industrial area. Through an agreement, it is alleged that the 2 parties agreed on top of the wage, accommodation and food will be catered for by the said employer. But to their shock, Mr. Venice Mokopa, their employer, could only pay for 2 months and couldn't handle phone calls or allow them on the site premises. One could only ask how they have survived henceforth in a foreign city, as they explain.
Omuntu atuchitaya kufuma Copperbelt atseni mumpangireko breweries ya Chat yaba Chat ero nomba twambo kumupangira na breweries yafuma naba nankwe bamwine wa Chat milling Chat breweries bale tashati plant na mpanga twafura for 1 month na twasnea konkere po month imbi twafura inganda yo wali pira pa first na pa second ali pira nefya kula yo wareshta but atchincha mano atawo guys mwako kolo kupanga plant. But plant yo atwebere pa first atao guys impya shakumforesha na shambo kunshupa imini neni pa first September impya mkese senda pa 10 urumwa imini nefya kuli ankara mipera kunganda kuti oko muikara so nomba padire ko kutupera fyonse ebwino so nomba patani ko tureikara takuri bwino barandro dware konka barefo kutupoke fya kufwara cause twakwata fya kufwara kuno ifya kuli atatukwete nimpya shakupera barandro tatukwete ero atukanya timwiraisa ko kuno mfure mwapanga appointment ngamorefo cause twapa tufikire turefo kula mona afena urawino mwini wa plant wa mwingisha umwine wa Chat Breweries ero atukanya timwiraisa ko kula na bagadari bebati beraisa kwa abantu nombe mpya nishtukashipokera kwisa parasti achinja neri ashati mpya ngamipera breweries ngayambika
kumfano ko batoya ini kwatira job after mfanya Copperbelt ini kwatira job yakaina ya kubomba for 1 month of which anjipsha na salary ndefana mwenjera wimo mwewe ichi job ni mo kaidi ni shapanga po plant but na panga po ma plant ya bibatia para brewery shapanga so nshishibe wina exactly job yakaina so vyashene batari na tuta offer 5,000 of which na sasa mina mwisho ncha kwa tulifu na kwa tabana na ushepi urukwa definitely na sasa mina njera sisi ni 1 month pari what so after kubomba 1 month kusasa ngoko tikanshi iyo job ikuru yako bati ngamwalire so moya na tumwa muno ko bati na 1 month yo ya chip mama ngefinitely atranda twasa bomba ko 2 months batupera iya konkerepo fyonse fyambo kula ibe ngamwatumone iyo ine muni 5p ni mfire na sonkera mwinganda kuno mfire na twalira abaku obonshiro rupwanshi na isho rupwa.
In all this situation, what they are asking for is this.
Then is a good for me. That's our cry. But for us to reach at this extent, a good for me. Not taking care of action, not for our go a dog, just to assist how we can claim our money. From Copperbelt, we have the number of our PSC to assist one of the other. If any must assist him, if I can cover up this issue, no we can go alive. But our cry is just to reclaim our money. If I do, come tomorrow, you might need us. We might need the more so.
Meanwhile, efforts to get in touch with Mr. Mokopa, the accused, proved futile. The 3 have since appealed to well-wishers and powers that be to intervene in their situation. Alex Shimba, Camnet News, Lusaka.
A syndicate of unknown workers at Chinese-owned Non-Ferrous Corporation Africa (NFCA) copper mine in Chambeshi on the Copperbelt province has held a peaceful protest over poor working conditions. In an interview with Camnet News, they say some of the reasons they conducted the protest was despite producing the same quality of copper as other mines, they are the least paid institution in the province. We have more in this report.
On the 11th of October 2011, government had directed the Chinese-owned non-ferrous corporation African Mining Company in Chambeshi on the Copper Belt to award workers a 2 million salary increment following government's intervention after a 4-day strike action. However, this does not seem to be the case, as workers at the mine are demanding an increment in their salaries. They say, despite producing the same quality of copper alongside other copper mines in the province, the company has the lowest pay. They have demanded for the management to give them members of staff that will pay attention to their needs.
It's very simple. We are demanding for harmonization of salaries, where when I get paid, I should enjoy in the very sense of other miners are enjoying. So what we are saying, one, they increase, they work on our salaries. The second point that we want them to work on us, to help us. We are demanding to say, in the management, we are hoping that they put in people that are going to listen to us, the people that are going to consider us as miners. Because we are the people that are involved in direct production.
They are not happy with the conditions of service, hence fearing for their safety.
Actually, as you can see, all of us here are not happy. We are not happy. Why? Because things are bad, starting from the conditions of services. Also, safety is not up to date. These guys, it's like they are not serious. They don't care about us. Salary is pathetic. You are working very hard, early bells up to evening time, but you're getting peanuts like scores of football.
Keeping employees happy and productive requires frequent and open communication, regular recognition of achievements, and constructive feedback. Blessings Chakwila, Camnet News, Lusaka.
The Ministry of Health has disclosed that 10 to 15 women die every week due to maternal-related issues. Ministry of Health Director of Public Health Dr. Andrew Sulumesi says he regrets that the situation is the same for children. He was speaking during a familiarization staff meeting with the new Minister of Health, Sylvia Masebo. During the same meeting, it was made public that the ministry owes medicine suppliers 2 billion kwacha. Patrick Soko has more in this report.
Health Minister Sylvia Masebo go down to business with the familiarization meeting with ministry staff. Well, there was no room for jokes. It was real talk, no sugarcoating. During the meeting, we learned that 10 to 15 women die every week due to maternal mortality in a country that was recently politically bragging of having delivered in the health sector. But sadly, the situation is not different when it comes to children. Dr. Andrew Sulumesi is the director of Public Health.
Every week we lose up to 10 to 15 women due to complications related to childbirth, translating to around 750 women that are lost per year. This is a major concern. Alongside this is even a greater concern of losing up to 5 times the number of women that we lose, losing neonates, that is children in their first month of life, up to 5 times the number that is lost, up to 5 times the number of mothers that we lose.
We also learned that the Ministry of Health owes medicine suppliers 2 billion kwacha.
Those are judged by what they can provide, and therefore the supply chain is key to the outcomes of our patients. Over the years, we've struggled meeting the demands in as far as drugs are concerned. The department currently, as a ministry, we owe the suppliers a debt of 2.2 billion kwacha. If we were supported well, our yearly budget, when we support all the disciplines, specialists and everybody, we should be in the area of 5 billion kwacha yearly.
Beyond pedestrian responses,
the nation has been treated to, such as government is doing everything possible to promote universal health coverage, well, the picture could not have been gloomier, with the revelation that about 3 provinces do not have CT scans.
We've got 3 provinces that still do not have CAT scans, CT scans, an investigation machine that allows us to get better understanding of what is going on in the patient. So we need CT scans. Western province currently has no CT scan, Northwestern province has no CT scan, and Central province have got no CT scan. In the other 7 provinces have got CT scans, but even when we have CT scans, the CT scans are struggling. So we've got 10 CT scans currently installed, but 3 out of the 10 are not working.
Patrick Soko, Camnet News in Lusaka.
Meanwhile, Health Minister Sylvia Masebo has observed that the health sector in Zambia is in a crisis. She is disappointed that most health facilities across the country have no appropriate equipment. And Ms. Masebo has strongly warned ministry officials against procurement of expired medicines. She has since called for hard work under the new Dawn government with the view of improving quality care delivery and sector perception.
Health Minister Sylvia Masebo says Zambia is in a health crisis. Ms. Masebo says the country cannot allow a situation where 10 to 15 women die within a week due to maternal-related issues.
Workers, no drugs, no equipment, long distances, no ambulances. So you can see that the whole healthcare chain has issues that needs to be addressed. That's why I said from the beginning that for me it looks like we're in a crisis actually. Would it be right for me to say it's a crisis? We're in a health crisis? Would it be right for me to say that? Yes or no? You are the experts. My peer says I'm right. Anyway, from a political point of view, and from just a community point of view, as a lay person who goes into a health center, I will say that there is no more health care in Zambia today. That it is at one of its lowest.
She is disappointed that most health facilities have no appropriate equipment, regretting that prescriptions have become the order of the day in public health centers due to lack of medicine, an indication of failed health service provision.
Situation or in an environment where our economy is also at its lowest. And when we talk of incomes, people have no money. So you approach a health center, you're very sick, and you are told you need an X-ray. This brings me back to what he was talking about. They need to investigate a patient in order for them to give quality healthcare service. And so here is a patient who has no money to jump on a bus to come to Lusaka to access that important equipment that is required in the process of offering a health package. So the position basically is that we do not have machines, equipment in most of our health centers. We are at our lowest.
And Ms. Masebo has strongly warned ministry officials against procuring expired drugs. She attributed the low uptake of vaccines in the country to the bad perception the general public has about the Ministry of Health. She has since called for hard work under the new Dawn government with the view of achieving quality healthcare delivery and sector perception, which has been dented.
Issue of mismanagement, misapplication, misappropriation. That's an internal matter that requires to be dealt with even before we ask for more resources. There's no point getting resources, more resources, if the little monies you are getting is being misapplied.
Patrick Soko, Camnet News in Lusaka.
Mines Minister Paul Kabuswe says government will uproot all the corruption planted in the mining sector to ensure that Zambia fully benefits from the mineral potential in the country. Mr. Kabuswe says the mining industry is currently in a mess due to corrupt activities which have characterized the sector. The minister says the mineral value chain for suppliers on the copper belt alone is worth $5 billion United States dollars, yet poverty has remained high in the country. And the minister says government has suspended all mining activities on mine dump sites and other small mining areas until further notice from the government. We have details in this report.
Zambia is rich in resources as it houses minerals such as copper, cobalt, gold, manganese, emerald, precious minerals, just to mention a few, which are largely mined in the country and fetch high on the international market, yet 60% of the country's population live in extreme poverty, according to information obtained from the World Bank. While the mining sector is the largest earner of forex in the country, many communities where mining activities take place have remained underdeveloped, while nearby land have been polluted, affecting vegetation and lives, as is the case in Kabwe Township, which has been classified as one of the most polluted towns in the world. And newly appointed Minister of Mines Pokawuse says the mining sector is in a mess and needs urgent cleaning up by ensuring that corruption is rooted out of the sector.
I think that corruption has messed up the mining sector. As I'm talking right now, all I can say is that the mining sector is in a mess. But I want to say this, that I and the team of directors and the PS and everybody in the Ministry of Mines, we are going to work together. We are going to have zero tolerance to corruption, and we are going to make sure that it is rooted out, because it has actually made Zambians not benefit from the mineral wealth that we've been given.
The minister adds that it is an abomination for the Zambian people to remain in poverty while the country is endowed with so much resources.
And it is when we benefit from these mines, that's when we are going to see that Zambians are actually owning the mineral wealth that they have. Today, when you go to the copper belt, the poverty, you can even smell it. You can smell the poverty. Yet we have a lot of wealth in terms of the minerals that we have as a country.
While mineral value chain for suppliers on the copper belt alone is worth $5 billion United States dollars, the minister says local participation in the mining sector is the only way Zambian will benefit from it. He has since alleged that all mining activities at Dumpsite and Black Mountain be suspended until further notice from the government.
To bring sanity and order to the dump site, issues of the Black Mountain and all those things. There has to be sanity. You realize that His Excellency the President, during his campaigns, he had alluded to the fact that we need to promote, small-scale mining, and the Black Mountains falls in that category. So, for now, I think we need to sit down and bring sanity. There shouldn't be any activities for now until we bring sanity, we roll it out properly so that it benefits not only a few.
Prudence Chota, reporting for Camnet TV News.
Young people living with cross-cutting disabilities and are disappointed that the trajectory of exclusion in politics and governance has remained a challenge under the New Dawn government. Future Tembo is concerned that various appointments made by President Hakainde Hichilema have excluded persons with disabilities so far. And Cheshire Home's community-based inclusive development program coordinator Alex Chitumbo says they will continue to engage the government on the need to accommodate persons with disabilities. They spoke to Camnet News on the sidelines of a two-day workshop organized by Cheshire Homes. More in this report.
No support is there for them. Okay? Do you feel there is no support for you?
Cheshire Homes, under the community-based inclusive development program, brought together 15 youths with disabilities together in a two-day coaching and mentorship workshop themed Know Me by My Abilities. The objective of the workshop is to promote the full participation and inclusion of youths with disabilities in society by increasing their resilience and levels of self-awareness and confidence. The participants are happy that they have been capacitated to understand issues pertaining to disabilities.
Helpful because I've learned a lot, whereby, for example, I myself, I feel being discriminated from other people. So from this workshop, it has helped me to be so determined and to have self-confidence and to be strong to society.
Future Tembo is concerned that they remain sidelined in governance issues.
We noticed for a long time that in governance we lack people with disability. You will find most of them are able-bodied. But it would be really good if people with disabilities are included into governance, into decision making, which will really affect our great nation. So it would be nice if people with such sort are included in the governance of this country.
And Cheshire Homes community-based inclusive development program coordinator Alex Chitumbo tells Camnet News that they will continue to engage the government on the need to accommodate persons with cross-cutting disabilities.
Cheshire Homes and the disability movement, I think we are engaging relevant stakeholders and government to ensure that persons with disabilities are not sidelined, and they are also taking lead in decision-making processes and also decision-making positions. So it is something that we are working on as the disability movement to engage government and relevant stakeholders in ensuring that persons with disabilities are included and are part and parcel of activities in our communities.
Patrick Soko, Camnet News in Lusaka.
United Party for National Development UPND national spokesperson Cornelius Mwetwa says President Hakainde Hichilema will use a commercial airplane to attend the forthcoming United Nations General Assembly in the United States of America and cut on travel costs involved. Addressing the media Tuesday, Mr. Mwetwa has also dismissed claims that the party in government has U-turned on its promise to sell the presidential Gulfstream 650 jet, stating that they are currently assembling all relevant documents in order to sell the jet and channel resources to other sectors of the economy in need of urgent funding. Meanwhile, a governance expert, Ruben Lifuka, has, however, charged that the UPND should be security conscious as the head of state using commercial flights could put his safety at risk. We have more in this report.
Various platforms, both traditional and social media, have been awash with debates surrounding the presidential jet Gulfstream G650, estimated at a cost of $65 million United States dollars. President Hakainde Hichilema, when in opposition, promised the Zambian people that once elected, selling the jet would be one of the party's priorities, adding that many sectors of the economy were in need of urgent funding. Different stakeholders have been accusing the UPND of ditching the campaign promise now that they have taken up leadership. UPND national spokesperson Mr. Cornelius Mwetwa, however, has clarified that plans to sell the jet are still intact, adding that they're currently putting all papers in order so as to sell the jet. He further says the head of state is also to attend the forthcoming United Nations UN General Assembly in the United States of America, USA, using a commercial flight in order to show government's commitment to cost cutting.
What the president then as presidential candidate promised the people of this country remains to be what it is today, that the presidential jet will be a consideration and subject of sale as such. Latest position is that that position, as was given before elections, remains as it is. No change whatsoever. His Excellency the President, Mr. Hakainde Hichilema, will not be using this presidential jet going to attend the UN General Assembly. Instead, he will be traveling using normal flights.
Mr. Mwetwa has also clarified on the promise of free education, alleging that the former ruling Patriotic Front, PF, left the party in intensive care unit ICU, which means that free education is dependent on funding.
They have got a right to demand of their government to do that which the citizens were promised, but such demands must correlate with reason and logic, that certain things can only be done with time in line with the functioning economy. Our colleagues, the Patriotic Front, left Zambia's economy in ICU, and there to deliver on the social sector front, on those sectors that are consumption-based. There is need to resuscitate the economy and build buoyancy in the economy and the resilience for the economy to attain a state of equilibrium.
Meanwhile, a governance expert, Mr. Ruben Lifuka, has cautioned the UPND against the head of state using commercial flights, stating that this could jeopardize his safety.
They just need to approach this cautiously. Yes, the things that they said during the campaigns, which are important, but they need to now turn that with reality, talk to the experts, make a decision not out of emotions or political excitement, but make decisions that are necessary and are prudent for the country.
He adds that not every promise can be fulfilled and has advised the UPND to counter-check with experts on security before taking such steps. Zipporah Mshala, Camnet News, Lusaka.
United Party for National Development Coordinator in Lundazi District of Eastern Province, Saudi Mbeva, says the cry of the people of Lundazi is to revamp the agricultural sector by government. Mr. Mbeva says that politics of appeasement should not be tolerated, as it is now time to ensure lowering the cost of farming inputs. He adds that Lundazi District is the hub of agriculture, hence the call to lower the cost of fertilizer in a bid to ensure agriculture becomes the main driver of the nation's economy.
The things that we in Lundazi have been crying for always is the issue of agriculture, what concerns our main food, which is maize. Issues which talk about fertilizers, time of getting monies, prices of these farming inputs, roads, infrastructure, this and that. Here comes a man who has got a very smart roadmap, a very clear plan as to how he's going to motivate each and every farmer. Not only a farmer in every aspect, but every Zambian citizen, whether you went to school, you didn't go to school. Here is a government who is going to find something for you to do so that the destitution should come to an end. Why do I say so? Hakainde Hichilema, in his program, he is come to improve the economy of this country. By how? Regarding reducing corruption, reducing laziness, enhancing accountability, again putting people in places based on competence. People must eat on merit. People must suffer where they are supposed to suffer. People must enjoy where they are supposed to enjoy.
The Civil Servant and Allied Workers Union of Zambia has urged civil servants in the country to rubbish allegations that government has suspended the debt swap initiative. In an exclusive interview with Camnet TV, Union Secretary General Makai says the debt swap initiative is a collective agreement between the government and relevant stakeholders, to which an agreement was signed and cannot be broken by word of mouth. A National Union of Public and Private Educators of Zambia, NUPE's President Victor Muyumba, says government can only suspend the debt swap initiative after coming to the negotiating table with the relevant institutions who signed the legal binding agreement with the government. We have details in the following report.
In the public domain that government has suspended the debt swap scheme for civil servants has shocked labor unions in Zambia who never saw it coming. Information carried by a daily tabloid Tuesday indicated that government will no longer be implementing the debt swap scheme. Civil Servant and Allied Workers Union of Zambia has called the move as a breach of the law, stating that the scheme was a collective agreement between government and relevant stakeholders and cannot be stopped by a word of mouth without coming to a negotiating table.
An issue which is a collective bargaining issue. In this case, the debt swap was an addendum to the 2021 collective agreement. And the Labour Commissioner assented to that collective agreement, which means that the collective agreement is binding to both parties. If there is any party which is aggrieved and would want to change any content in the collective agreement, the due process of the law has to be followed. That is, the employer and the employees' representatives who have come on the bargaining table and discuss that issue and they agreed to suspend it.
A National Union of Public and Private Educators of Zambia, NUPE's, and the Federation of Free Trade Union of Zambia, FFTUZ, have equally expressed disappointment at the decision and wants governments to reconsider the decision, stating that it has been done unlawfully.
As what we know is when matters are agreed upon,
and an addendum is signed, like to do with those conditions of service. It's remained binding and it's legal. So the suspension to us, I think, hasn't come at the right time. And we want to appeal to the government that this is not the way things are supposed to be done. If there is any suspension of such conditions of service that are enjoyed by workers, it has to go back to the bargaining table.
And if government now thinks it's not the best way to go, they should have followed the same process that birthed the same debt swap. Meaning, they should have called the unions to talk about how ill-timed or wrong debt swap was and what alternative would be put in place.
And the movement for the restoration of teachers' affairs in Zambia, Morata, however, said the new government means well for the country and that if it has decided to strip off the debt swap scheme, then it has been done in the best interest of the Zambian people.
Otherwise, we don't have much information, but all I can assure you is that with the vision of the new administration in place of having a united, prosperous and equitable Zambia, we are very, very sure that they mean well if they touch on issues to do with the debt swap.
Meanwhile, Minister of Finance Dr. Situmbe Komsokotwane and Public Service Division Permanent Secretary Boniface Chimbwali could not comment on the matter. Prudence Chota, reporting for Camnet TV News.
In a related development, teacher unions have called for calm among their members and to treat the story circulating on social media blogs about the debt swap suspension as rumors. Speaking on behalf of the union's Secondary School Teachers Union of Zambia, Secretary General Sitivikiso Wamuyua says the debt swap was a negotiated agreement and any changes should be done in agreement by the two parties, in this case government and the unions, using the addendum that was signed. Mr. Wamuyua says the workers' representatives and the government should sit and agree on the way forward and not be done one-sided. He insists government has not communicated formally to the affected parties, hence making the claim false. Meanwhile, Mr. Sitibekiso has called on government to table the debt swap issue and refine the bottlenecks that are of concern for the benefit of all public service workers.
The position of the unions is that debt swap initiative was a negotiated package and any alterations to the agreement, adverse or otherwise, has to be by the consent of both parties, as stated in the July 2021 addendum clause number 11. What we mean here is that the debt swap, dear colleagues, as far as the public service workers are concerned, is a condition of service that was arrived at through a process of negotiation and signed by the two parties, the workers' representatives and the government. And the document approved as a legal document through the Ministry of Labour as an addendum. And this is the document we are talking about. This is a government document signed between the two parties, the workers' representatives, that's the unions, and the government on the other hand. And I will read it to you.
You're watching Camnet TV, not just another channel. We'll take a break. We'll be back with more news after the break.
Africa is rising to a new dawn of integrity and accountability. Are you tired of being swindled or buying fake or illegal properties? Would you like to sell or buy genuine property? Would you like to list your property on both local and international market? Don't waste your time. Call the professionals, the SGK Properties on +260 762 166 018. SGK Properties. Your business assurance is our priority.
Would you like
like to win some cool cash? Say no more. Stand a chance to win your share of 1 million kwacha. Simply make a transaction from your Zamtel mobile money account and you could be one of weekly winners of up to 10,000 kwacha. Be empowered with Zamtel mobile money. Dial *344# to activate your account. This promotion runs from 28th July to 31st October 2021. Zamtel, your digital lifestyle partner.
At Savenda Express Printing, we have the capacity to deliver quality in all kinds of printing services timely. Our lines of production include screen printing, embroidery, lithography, and large format printing. We take pride in delivering quality work at very competitive rates with our in-house, highly experienced and qualified designers. With the ability to print full color and embossing prints, our state-of-the-art screen printing machines are able to print 1,000 pieces per hour. Our embroidery machines are able to print any logo with 1 or up to 12 colors all at once and has an output capacity of 100 pieces per hour. Savenda Express Printing also does large format printing for billboards, banners, vinyl, car stickers, posters, tire covers, cups, pens, bags, flasks, packaging boxes, and well, just anything that can need printing. For inquiries, give us a call on 0960 344 471.
Camnet TV turns 5. We are excited to be the best community Christian TV channel within Zambia and across the world. With our programming for all age groups, talk of sermons, movies, kids programs, music, talk shows, developmental programs, and our unbiased, factual, and balanced news. To you, our viewers, we are saying thank you for being part of this journey. Happy 5th anniversary. Camnet TV, not just another channel.
Welcome back. We continue with the news. About 100 clients have allegedly accused a company that deals with the manufacturing of iron sheets by the name of Mr. Lee of swindling them of their money after they purchased the iron sheets. Disclosing to the media and representing the group, Jonathan Mwendu says a lot of the clients purchased the iron sheets, but the company did not deliver, hence demanding to be refunded. We have more in this report.
These people you see here are some of the 100 clients who have allegedly accused a company that deals with the manufacturing of iron sheets by the name of Mr. Lee of swindling their money after they purchased the iron sheets. Revealing to the media and representing the group, Jonathan Mwendu says a lot of clients purchased the iron sheets, but the company did not deliver, hence demanding for them to be refunded. He has disclosed how life has been difficult for him because he invested in something that does not seem productive.
I've cashed a lot of money. Now they couldn't collect their iron sheets and some other items. So this is the complaints has been coming. People have been coming here to report to the Central Police here. Actually, I'm one of the victims. This is my 3rd time coming to Central Police. I even opened the docket. My docket is there. I met even the principal CIO. But up to now, we don't know what is going on. Because what we are looking forward, if somebody is trying to connive with people, such criminal case, our motive is to see that it has to end, because this person is using the social media to advertise that is good, he has got goods on promotion.
One of the affected clients has told the media how she lost her husband because of the same purchase.
I can tell you at the moment. So I told them, no, if that's the case, then I'll just make a call up. So I came, I went to Gaza. Then I was referred to Mr. Lee. And Mr. Lee, they kept on telling me, no, We have sent your orders. Your materials will come by 16. You stay at the shop. You spend the whole day just at the shop. No materials. Again, they'll give you another day. So I'm now 3 weeks in Lusaka, just waiting for my materials. Up to now, I've not been given an answer. Yesterday, I had the privilege to talk to the owner through the...
Sunday Jerry spent 20,500 kwacha for the iron sheets that have not been delivered.
About a month ago, but up to now, I haven't yet collected. So that's the issue. So I went there, the date which they gave me, but when things did work out, up to now, so that's how we came here.
Efforts to get a comment from Mr. Lee by Camnet TV failed as the factory was closed. Blessings Chakwila, Camnet News, Lusaka.
The Mkushi Town Council has disposed of expired assorted goods worth over 10,000 kwacha, which were confiscated following routine inspections conducted in selected parts of the district. Mkushi Town Council Public Relations Officer Clarence Kaoma says among the items seized include assorted drinks, groceries and foodstuffs such as biscuits, cosmetics, toiletries, jam, butter, perfumes and lotions. Mr. Kaoma says the local authority is disappointed at the conduct of businessmen and women that do not comply with the law by stocking substandard products that risks the lives of innocent consumers. He has since urged residents and the general public to ensure that products purchased are fit for human consumption by always checking for the expiry dates.
We have continued conducting quite a number of routine inspections across the district, and this time around we focused on the Central Business District, where we were inspecting food items for expiry. We were acting in accordance with the Food and Drugs Act, Cap 303, Section 24(1 of the laws of Zambia. And during this particular operation, we confiscated quite a number of assorted items. These include washing paste, bathing soaps, groceries, as well as perfumes. Ours as a local authority is to urge the general public towards ensure that they check food items to see to it that they are fit for consumption. And as a local authority, we would also love to urge the business entities to cooperate with us, as obstructing officers from operating their programs is against the law.
The Zambia National Farmers Union, ZNFU, has called on the government to empower small-scale farmers with land to enable them to get access to loans from both public and private financial institutions. ZNFU Public Relations Manager Calvin Kaleyi explains that most of the farmers settle on untitled land, which poses as a challenge for them to access loans from various financial institutions. Mr. Kaleyi says empowerment in form of entitlement to land by government will go a long way in investing in the small-scale farmers. He has called on the Ministry of Agriculture to actualize the land title policy, among other pending issues in the agriculture sector.
This is one issue we've been talking about as Zambia National Farmers Union. If we can see as many small-scale farmers as possible having title to land, then they are going to be empowered to say, okay, today I can confidently get my title, go to a bank and say, look, I have title, I have land, okay? I need to get 50,000 kwacha, I need to get 150,000 kwacha for my small mechanization project, okay? They will have confidence to walk into a bank and borrow and reinvest the money on their farms. But as it is now, it's very difficult for small-scale farmers to walk into a bank to say, lend me so much, because they don't have title, they don't have collateral, they have nothing, you know. But with that, with being empowered with the title to land, that is going to help small-scale farmers borrow, make investments, replow that money into mechanization. That is going to help them become efficient and, you know, help the country actually attain the level of productivity, that production and productivity that it wants. So that to us is one of the major appeals, that title to land to small-scale farmers should be actualized.
You're watching Camnet News. We take another break. We'll be back with international and sports news after the break.
Your skin is the biggest muscle in your body. That's why we make sure that Oracle is #1 when it comes to taking care of your precious skin. Oracle Pure Petroleum Jelly and Glycerin soothes, moisturizes and keeps your skin perfect. Oracle Pure Petroleum products for that perfect skin.
At Zavenda Express Printing, we have the capacity to deliver quality in all kinds of printing services timely. Our lines of production include screen printing, embroidery, lithography, and large format printing. We take pride in delivering quality work at very competitive rates with our in-house, highly experienced and qualified designers. With the ability to print full color and embossing prints, our state-of-the-art screen printing machines are able to print 1,000 pieces per hour. Our embroidery machines are able to print any logo with 1 or up to 12 colors all at once and has an output capacity of 100 pieces per hour. Zavenda Express Printing also does large format printing for billboards, banners, vinyl, car stickers, posters, tire covers, cups, pens, bags, flasks, packaging boxes, and well, just anything that can need printing. For inquiries, give us a call on 0960 344 471.
Camnet TV turns 5. We are excited to be the best community Christian TV channel within Zambia and across the world. With our programming for all age groups, talk of sermons, movies, kids programs, music, talk shows, developmental programs, and our unbiased, factual, and balanced news. To you, our viewers, we are saying thank you for being part of this journey. Happy 5th anniversary. Camnet TV, not just another channel.
The Camnet October Conference is fast approaching. To participate in the forthcoming conference, you're required to book your seat by paying 750 kwacha per person per day. Date 1st and 2nd October 2021. Venue The Healing Word Ministries International in Ibex Hill. Guest speakers include Professor Reda, Professor Munkumba, Mr. Nkuruma Kalaluka, Dr. Musonda, Dr. Sitima, Anthony from USA, Dr. Mwale, Honorable Bob Sichinga, Elias Pondela, and your hosts, Pastors Victoria and Moses Chiluba.
You can also participate via Zoom at 300 kwacha per day.
Make your payments through mobile money. For MTN, 096 296 5883. For Airtel, 097 975 3010. Our banking details are 913 000 182 5325. Stanbic Bank, Kablonga Branch.
For those living abroad, make payments via Wild Remit. The deadline for payments will be 28 September 2021. Any late payment made after 28 September will attract a penalty fee of 200 kwacha per person.
Welcome back. We now look at international news. And in international news, the UN's human rights chief has urged Ethiopia's government and Tigrayan forces to be held accountable for alleged human rights violations, including extrajudicial killings and torture. Michelle Bachelet said on Monday that UN investigators were not able to reach the holy city of Aksum due to sudden changes in the security situation and in the conflict dynamics. In other news, Burkina Faso authorities rescued 374 children between January and March from being trafficked to neighboring countries to work in agriculture or small-scale mines, government figures released on Monday showed. Last year, 2,318 children were intercepted through checks on buses or through denunciation, according to the ministry. Most were under 16 and destined to work in plantations, artisanal mines, or for domestic work in countries neighboring Burkina Faso. Here's a roundup of international news for more.
Burkina Faso says it rescued 374 children from traffickers taking them to work in neighboring countries between January and March this year. For some time now, this phenomenon affecting children has grown to worrying proportions in our country. In the first quarter of 2021, 374 children have already been intercepted, according to data collected by the General Directorate of Family and Childhood. A total of 58 children have been handed over to social services by our security forces during operations to secure the territory since the beginning of the security crisis. Last year, 2,318 children were intercepted through checks on buses and other transportation, according to the ministry. Most were under 16 and destined to work in plantations, artisanal mines, or for domestic work in countries neighboring Burkina Faso.
Torture, killings, and sexual violence. These are just some of the findings of a 5-month investigation by the UN Human Rights Commission into alleged atrocities committed in Ethiopia's northern Tigray region. The investigations were launched following reports of war crimes committed by the Ethiopian government as it sought to defeat the Tigrayan People's Liberation Front, or TPLF. Both the United Nations and Ethiopia's Human Rights Commission took part in the investigations.
Allegations of human rights violations have continued to implicate government forces and its allies. We have received disturbing reports that local fishermen found dozens of bodies floating along the river crossing between Western Tigray and Sudan in July. Some allegedly had gunshot wounds and bound hands, indications that they might have been detained and tortured before being killed.
The report also includes accusations of Tigrayans being arrested based on ethnicity, including in the Ethiopian capital Addis Ababa.
Fighting has continued unabated and has expanded to neighboring Afar and Amhara regions. Together with other pockets of intercommunal violence, the conflict risks spilling over to the whole Horn of Africa.
The Tigray conflict started last November after the government launched an offensive against the TPLF. The group dominated Ethiopia's politics for nearly 3 decades before being removed from power in 2018. 3 weeks into the war, Ethiopia's government declared victory, but the fighting hasn't stopped. In June, the Tigrayan Defense Forces retook the regional capital Mekelle and other major cities. But since then, the conflict has spread to other parts of Ethiopia, with accusations the TPLF is killing and displacing civilian populations. Ethiopia's Attorney General has called on the international community to recognize violations by the TPLF.
It is high time that the world wakes up to the reality that the TPLF is the aggressor and not the victim in this tragedy.
The war has displaced more than 2 million people in Tigray alone. Hundreds of thousands have also been displaced in Amhara. Nearly 400,000 are facing famine, as the government continues to block access to Tigray, and more than 60,000 have fled to neighboring Sudan.
First, the bombing started inside the city. I saw a lot of people killed, shot inside my own city. I saw them with my own eyes. I saw people slaughtered. That's why I couldn't stay and fled and came to Sudan.
In Ethiopia, people find themselves caught in a conflict that is expanding. The government has called on all those able to join the fight against the TPLF. Both sides are unwilling to concede defeat, raising concerns of more atrocities and human rights violations to come.
The UN Secretary-General came to Geneva with the aim of getting the international community to provide at least $606 million to help Afghanistan before the end of the year.
The people of Afghanistan need a lifeline.